Another Mr. Nelson's chemistry class. Today we're going to work on type 1 and 2 binary and polyatomic mixed practice. Okay, so we're going to have everything that we learned so far in these right here. So one of the first things we got to make sure that we do is we're going to pick out the type. Okay, so we need to know the type, and that means it's either type 1 or type 2. And then we're going to do, is it binary or is it polyatomic? Okay, so let's go ahead and look at the first one that we have right here. We have iron. Well, in order to determine whether or not it's type 1 or type 2, again, we go to the periodic table. Iron is right here. But remember, I can go to the page 12 in our packet and find that iron is right here. Now remember, if it's in the blue part, okay, it is type 2. So let's go back to that. We know that it's type 2. Now, is it, at this point, is it polyatomic or is it binary? Now, binary means 2 elements. Polyatomic means more than 2. So again, I have 3 capital letters, so it must be polyatomic. Okay, so we're going to put a capital P there. So now we're going to go ahead and answer these. And we don't know what the charge, because it's a type 2 of the iron, but we do know the charge for the Cn, which happens to be cyanide. So if we go to our packet, we can go to the very last page of the polyatomic ion sheet, and we scroll down and we find Cn. It is a -1. Okay, so we go back here, we know that we can put a -1 right there. Now I have 3 cyanides, so it's going to be -1 times 3, and then we're going to just pull this over, and that means that that's going to be a -3 for the total charge of cyanide. Now we need to go, what's our total charge for iron? Well, our total charge for iron is equal but opposite, because remember, these have to cancel each other out. If they don't cancel each other out, they're going to keep reacting until they do, so we got to have them cancel out. So that means this can be a +3. Then we're going to take that and divide it by the number of type 2 metals that we have right here, the iron. Well, there's no subscript there, so that means there's only one of them. So that means we're going to take the 3 divided by 1, means that we have a +3. Now again, this +3 that is going to be our charge is actually going to be our Roman numeral. So we're going to go in here and we're going to put down iron, and then we're going to put our parentheses, and we need the Roman numeral 3 and our other parentheses, and then we do Cn, and if I go back to that, Cn stood for cyanide, and we're going to put in cyanide. So iron 3 cyanide, that's that formula. Let's go to the next one. The next one we have K4C. Now let's look at the first element. The first element is K. Now K is potassium. It's in column 1, but if I go to this one, it's in column, it must be a type 1. Remember, our rules say that if it's white, it's a type 1. So we can go back to it. We know that it's type 1. Now, is it polyatomic or is it binary? Well, there's only 2 capital letters, so that means it must be binary. So we're going to put a big B there. Now, again, if you remember the rules for type 1, we just go ahead and name it. We don't worry about anything else. So K stands for potassium. Okay, so we're going to put, and then C stands for, right here, carbon. Okay, but remember, on the second element, we changed the ending to "ide," so it's going to be called carbide. So we're going to change that to potassium carbide. Okay, and that's how we do that one. Let's go to the next one. We look at it. AU. Well, AU is gold. It's right here. Okay, but is it one of our type 1 or type 2? I can go to this and say it's right below silver. It's in the blue, so it must be a type 2. So we can go back to it. We see that it's 2. Is it binary or polyatomic? I see only 2 capital letters. That must mean that it's binary. So we're going to put a B there. And so now with type 2, we have to calculate out the charge of the gold. Well, the charge of F, which is fluorine, if I go to this one, I can see that F is a -1. So I go back there, and I'm going to put a -1 above that. Well, how many fluorines do we have? Well, we have 3 fluorines, so my total charge is going to be a -3, which means that my charge for gold is going to be equal but opposite, a +3. I'm going to divide that by the number of golds we have, which is 1. So I come up here, and that's going to be a +3. That will be my Roman numeral. So again, I like to highlight that to make sure I know that that's my Roman numeral. And so we're just going to put in AU as gold, parentheses, Roman numeral 3, parentheses, and then fluorine, if I go to fluorine is going to be changed to fluoride, because we changed the ending. So gold 3, fluoride. Okay, that's how we go ahead and pick these. Let's go to the ones where we have to write the formula. So look at this one right here. I see magnesium chlorate. So magnesium is right here on the periodic table. It means it's in column 2. So I go to this one here. Column 2 says it's a type 1 because it's white. So we know that it's a type 1. Now, is it binary or polyatomic? Well, here's my hint right there. It says chlorate. 8 means it must be polyatomic. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and we have to put the charges. So my charge for magnesium, if I go to my page 12, is right here. It's a +2. So I'm going to put a +2 there. I go to chlorate. Well, I'm not going to go to the same polyatomic place. I'm going to go to my polyatomic ion page. And we were looking up, if we go back to that, we're looking up chlorate. So chlorate is up here a little bit further. Chlorate is a -1. Okay, so let's go back to this. We know that that's a -1. So that means I have 2 + 2, -1. They don't cancel each other out. So we're going to crisscross. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to put a 1 right there. And I'm going to put a 2 right there. Now I need 2 of the polyatomic ions. So that means I'm going to use parentheses. Don't forget that. So we're going to use magnesium, which was Mg. And again, if I need to go back, I can look at it. Mg. Okay. And then chlorate. Chlorate was ClO3. Okay. But I need 2 of them, so we're going to put it in parentheses. And ClO3. And then in my other parentheses, and I need 2 of them, so I got to put a subscript of 2. Now I can't just leave that 3 down there because that 3 says I have 3 oxygens, not 3 chlorates. And I need 2, so I just can't change it to 2, because if I change it to 2, then that would be chlorite. So this is how we do this one. Okay. Let's go to this one right here. We have iron 2 arsenide. Now, iron 2, the Roman numeral tells us that it is type 2. Okay, so that's good. Now, is it polyatomic or is it binary? Well, it ends in "ide." Arsenide would actually be arsenic. So if I scroll this over and I just move this up, arsenic, it's above the line there. So that is going to be binary. So we know that iron is a +2 because that's the charge from the Roman numeral. Then we go to arsenide. If I go back to where arsenide was, it's right there above the staircase. I go to page 12. Arsenide is right there. Arsenide is a -3 because it's above the staircase. It's in that column with the rest of them. So I'm going to go back to it, and that's a -3. Okay, now we have our charges in place. They do not cancel each other out, so we're going to, again, crisscross. And so I'm going to put a 3 right here. And then this 2 is going to come over here and go right down there. And then I always ask myself this question, and I didn't do it on the one before, but can I reduce? No, I can't reduce. We're going to leave it there. So we're going to go ahead and put iron is Fe. Now, again, if we don't remember what that is, we'll go back to our packet. There's iron right there, Fe. And then arsenic. Okay, but I need a 3 there, right? Let's go back up there. And then arsenic is right here. It's As. So go back to this. And so As. Then we have to do a subscript of 2. And that's how we go ahead and do the formula for iron 2 arsenide. Okay, hopefully this helped you out. You can always revert back to this, ask questions, look at some of the other videos that are in Google Classroom, okay, to help you out. Or, hey, if worse comes to worse, ask questions in class. Okay? As always, go Mohawks. Nelson out.